Blizzard Paywall Overwatch 2 story missions after scraping hero missions baffle players and internet. Woo. Baby.
Blizzard's inability to fully realize the potential of Overwatch 2.
Not just Overwatch 2. Any game.
Is freaking legendary at this point.
Truly legendary.
We recently talked about the controversy surrounding the PvE stuff getting scaled down significantly, while story missions are still going to be released through the live service. What people initially thought was going to be the case was that we're going to get this whole standalone package that was supposed to include both story missions and what are called hero missions, which sees individual heroes having skill trees, and you can kind of shape their play style and switch up their abilities or modify them or enhance them. And it was going to be this whole extensive mode that would provide a cooperative element that would make Overwatch appealing to a whole new audience. And
yeah, I was looking forward to this. I was part of this new audience or whatever, you know? Because, like, whenever I initially thought about playing, like, Overwatch, you know, I was a little hesitant or whatever because of essentially, like, all the visual clutter in the game, like, the horrible matchmaking in the game.
And for people who already play Overwatch, it could provide a new mode that could also add just a whole lot of replayability to the package. That hero mode, the hero missions, were a big contributor to what people thought would justify the 2 at the end of Overwatch 2. But with that cut, people are struggling to find reasons for why they decided to end Overwatch 1's tenure and release this Overwatch 2 instead of just updating Overwatch 1. And
oh, yeah, the 2 doesn't need to be there. It's Overwatch 1.1, essentially.
all of that was detailed here by Kara Q. Original PvE vision from 2019 is no more. Talent tree scrapped, and there will be no standalone version. Just little bits of PvE, such as mission stories released with each PvP season as part of their live service. Now, that bit about the story missions being a part of the live service is important because the business model of Overwatch 2 is that it's supposed to be a free-to-play experience. The core stuff is supposed to come out for free, while things like the cosmetic microtransactions and the battle pass and stuff like that, the overpriced cosmetic microtransactions is that.
Oh, yeah. Bro, don't downplay that whatever mythic Genji skin, all right, dude? That thing took an entire year to make that one skin, all right? It's a good-looking skin, you know? And quality takes at least a year, okay?
That stuff's what's paying for the continuation of content releases. Well, it turns out that as far as the story missions go, it's actually being locked behind a paywall. You do have to pay extra to access the story missions, which is an insult, given that not only did the hero missions get completely scrapped, so the PvE stuff is just nowhere near as comprehensive as people expected it to be, but these story missions are being released as part of the live service. It's supposed to contain some pretty substantial content, and despite all of the controversy and all of the backlash and all of the qualms surrounding the business model and the release model of Overwatch 2 and the over-marketing of it and all these things, they still have the audacity to charge money for this thing, and people are just not happy.
So it's a watered-down version of PvE, and they're still asking for money. Didn't some people pay for it already when they pre-ordered Overwatch 2 with the promise of them getting like PvE? So if I pre-ordered Overwatch 2 or whatever, there was like a thing or whatever, and then the PvE didn't happen, and now they're asking for more money for the PvE. What incentive do you have as like a longtime player to spend money on the game? Like, what?
So this is a blog post that details all of this. This was published on June 12th, 2023. I'm a little late with this, but Summer Game Fest stuff's kept me busy. But
okay. This
blog post is titled Introducing Our Most Exciting Season Yet, Overwatch 2 Invasion. And as part of this new season, we're going to see the release of what Blizzard calls 3 action-packed missions, story missions, that take place in Rio de Janeiro, Toronto, and Gothenburg. massive maps with complex objectives, and an in-depth storyline that will guide you along the way. You'll fight against the intensified forces of Null Sector, who will continue to attack until you've completely dismantled them. Stay alert for challenging enemies that haven't been encountered before, such as the powerful artillery and the deadly stalkers. Only time will tell just how substantial these story missions will feel, whether the wait for them will be worth it, whether they'll be an...
Bro, watch these like unique enemies be like just scrapped characters or like incomplete characters that they just had or whatever.
enough to justify the 2 in Overwatch 2. It feels like a very unlikely scenario, but who knows? But in the meantime, players who have been purchasing those overpriced microtransactions or who purchased the Watchpoint pack during Overwatch 2's launch, which included a bundle of currencies and skins and whatnot, even they will have to pay $15 for what they call the Overwatch 2 Invasion Bundle, which includes access to the Overwatch 2 Invasion story missions during the season and permanently after. Now,
fuck that shit, dude. You're asking me to pay again for the content that you promised? No. That's just a no.
permanently after, are they talking about $15 for these 3 specific story missions and those will be unlocked forever? Or are they saying that the story missions, both in this season and in future seasons, will be fully accessible? Is the $15 only going to unlock these 3 story missions permanently, or is it unlocking just all story missions from here on out permanently? If they are going to continuously charge,
oh, they left it kind of ambiguous. Does the word permanent mean these 3 missions are permanent, or does the word permanent apply to these story missions and the rest forever? Bro, there's no way $15. No, they assume if you're spending $15 for this bundle, they assume that you worked like an hour for this. All right, that's what's going on in their heads. Oh, $15, and our entire player base is probably got to be working. So yeah, $15 is like the minimum wage now. So that only takes them like an hour. Easily, they can pay for this. No, that they're not all story missions aren't permanent. We just left it ambiguous like that on purpose. The next group of missions are gonna be $20. You only got to work an hour for that. What's the matter? You guys don't got jobs?
$15 or whatever with every new batch of story missions that they release. This is dead in the water. What's the point of calling this a free-to-play experience if you have to pay money to access some of the most pivotal content that you're going to offer, the stuff that's going to supposedly justify the 2 in Overwatch 2? Now,
I don't think it's that pivotal, dude. It's like, it's Overwatch. It's 5v5. That's the content. This little mission bullshit, it's like, it's a side thing. All right? I mean, yes, it's like, you could make the argument that it's like, it's premium content. It's the scrapped content or whatever. And that's fine. But I would still argue that the main thing that people think about for Overwatch 2 is 5v5. Not PvE.
Now, this $15 bundle also comes with 1,000 Overwatch coins, a brand new Sojourn legendary skin, permanent access to Sojourn as a playable hero for new players unlocked upon completing story mission challenges. Now, they put value numbers here. They're saying that the Sojourn legendary skin is $19 value. And
the V word, the value. Oh.
And the 1,000 Overwatch coins, that's $10 value.
Ooh, there's the anchoring. There's the anchoring.
Basically trying to present the notion of all this for $15, what a steal. Except it's the folks at Blizzard that set this ridiculous value that should not be the price point of a skin. $20 for a skin is simply way too expensive. The value is self-defined. Blizzard set the conditions for these values, so it's a bit of like a misleading...
800% value. That's what you're looking for, Yong. 800% value.
Bit of marketing. The skin is $19 in value according to Blizzard, but ask anyone sensible and they'll tell you that skin should be, like max $5 if you really want to call them micro transactions. But yeah, the bundle does come with a few goodies here.
Bro, there's like microtransaction. These are like macro transactions. There's like, what was it? Micro for small, macro for huge. And then we need a word for in the middle, isn't it? I think it's like meso transaction, That's a good one. Have like a 3-tier thing. Microtransactions. What would you think like a range would be a good range for like microtransactions, like $1 to $5 or something. Maybe 7, 8, maybe 10 for micro, and then Mezzo would probably be anywhere from like 10 to 20, 30. And then anything like 30 on is probably like expansion type deal, macro transaction. I don't know how much that legendary Genji skin is or whatever. But that's a big one or something.
And there, but some people may not want to spend $15 to get all of this other stuff. They might just want access to the story missions. So why not sell the story missions separately at a much lower cost without this whole bundle situation at like $5 or something to make this easier to swallow? If you're paywalling important content, the story missions that further the narrative of Overwatch, and a big part of the experience is narrative, then this stops being a fully free-to-play experience because it's not free to play the substantial content that's coming out over the course of months and years through these story missions. Various news outlets have reached out to Blizzard to ask if there's any way to access the story missions for free through some kind of gameplay grind, but nope. According to Forbes, a Blizzard spokesperson confirmed that the story missions won't be accessible unless you pay for the bundle. You won't get access to the story missions for free at all during the invasion season. You'll still be able to pay for access to them after the season's over. And Forbes aptly had the following take to provide: it's another bad look for Blizzard so soon after news came through that the hero missions, the PvE mode that would include long-term progression for each character, the stuff that people are really looking forward to, are no longer happening. On top of all that, I previously raised the question about how substantial these story missions will be for $15. Well, you're going to get through them pretty quickly if what The Verge is saying here is to go by, because according to Game Informer, The Verge reports here, the one story mission it's reported played ran about 30 minutes, not including the cutscenes. If all three missions are roughly the same length, you're looking at almost 2 hours of story content, but for $15.
Bro, $15? How many games on Steam are worth $15 that are worth more of your money than this bullshit? Oh my god. This is hilarious. Bro, you need to be swimming into bucks if you're paying $15 for like 2 hours, dude. What's that? $7, $8 an hour? Oh my god. I can't imagine that, dude.
That's the real crux here. You have to pay $15 to access the story missions. You can't just buy the story missions by itself for a cheaper price. And for that price point, you only get roughly 2 hours worth of content. We're not talking about like a substantial 6 to 10 hours long campaign. We're talking about a bite-sized experience because the story missions are being drip-fed to us throughout the course of months and years through the live service, which I thought was going to be free-to-play for substantial content. But nope, I'm starting to think that the $15 is specifically for the invasion story missions for the invasion season.
Yeah.
So I feel like with future story missions that are going to have a differently titled season,
it's going to be $15 minimum. At least, maybe the next one, the next bundle will be $20. The one after that, $25. And then instead of 2 hours, it'll be 2 hours and like 10 minutes. Oh my god!
That's going to be its own separate thing that you're going to have to pay more for to permanently unlock, is how I'm interpreting this. And if that's the case, then this model is dead in the water. I'm not going to continuously spend $15 for every new season for.
I mean, you won't, but there are people who will. And that group of people, they're called gamers. All right? Gamers don't care about the morality of it. There's going to be people that just see this little bundle pop up. There's going to be people that don't care about the morals and the ethics of it. They just see new content, pay money now. That's their target audience. It's not you who is thinking about all the morals and ethics and the things that are happening behind the scenes and behind the curtains and all that jazz. It's the gamers,
Just 2 hours of story content every single time and build up hundreds of dollars worth of expenditures on a game that continues to just not know what it's doing. And you can see right here on social media that the sentiment is shared by many. Here are the details about how you have to pay $15 to access the Invasion story missions. And scrolling down, people are like, bro, I thought I paid for this with my Watchpoint pack, the $40 pack that Overwatch 2 launched with. Now, the Watchpoint pack did not list that you will get access to PvE content for free and whatever, but Blizzard should be able to change their business model if they want, make it up to customers. If they wanted to make purchasers of Watchpoint pack have access to the PvE at no extra cost.
Why would they do that, though? They already got your money and gave you nothing. Why would they give you something for nothing? That's not Blizzard-like.
They could. They would if they wanted to, if the higher-ups were
but they ain't
reasonable. But this is Blizzard we're talking about. So, of course, not even the Watchpoint pack purchasers will gain access to this. Those folks who spend $40 on that pack will have to spend an extra $15 to gain access to the content that they were actually looking forward to as part of the 2 in Overwatch 2, this experience that was going to justify its sequel status through this story content that has an extra paywall behind it. Many people are baffled, can't believe it, and are just mocking and laughing at the situation. A price? This game is a joke, LMFAO.
Yeah.
Okay, I know $15 is cheap, but like, what? Why are they even charging for it? Tons of people are echoing this. Here's somebody else. Why are they making you pay? Ain't no way, bro. Scrolling further down, complete the game first. Do better. How much... to go back to loot boxes. The fact that Blizzard's business model for Overwatch 2 has become so maligned that people are missing freaking loot boxes tells you everything you need to know about the current status and the current sentiments.
Okay, so here's the underlying thing, or whatever. It's just my little 2 cents. Take it or leave it. So the whole Watchpoint thing, all these like little missions should have just been included for the Watchpoint thing, and they could have just said, hey, well, if you bought the Watchpoint thing, we'll include these 3 missions, and then just name the bundle the Watchpoint mission bundle. All right, and then you make it up to those guys, even if it's like you're not even actually making it up to them. It's just like a small little side prize of the thing that they wanted initially, but at least you'll have everybody on the same point, and then for the next go, you have to, you still buy the fucking next bundle or whatever, and then so on and so forth. All right, because for some reason people want to play Overwatch PvE. You know, it is what it is. They want to play the content. They want to play the content. This is really different than gamers valuing cosmetics, you know? Because if it was just cosmetics, I would just be laughing at them, you know? Oh, you know, it's like, oh, you're getting all these like huge prices for these cosmetics or whatever, and you expect people to pay all these like crazy prices when it's just like, don't buy the cosmetics. No one's forcing you to buy the cosmetics. All right? Just stop valuing them. You know? It's that simple. Stop valuing cosmetics. But when it comes to like content, especially like $15 for like 2 hours, I mean, shit, if you want to, that doesn't seem like a great value to me. But I mean, it's your money. You can do whatever you want with it.
Surrounding the business model of Overwatch 2. The rewards loop felt significantly more forgiving, more reasonable, and more fun in Overwatch 1, despite the fact that that game included gambling. At the very least, it still felt like players had a path to get everything for free. But with Overwatch 2, them going free to play has negatively impacted the rewards loop and the monetization so much that it genuinely feels less fun to play these matches. It feels like there's just less to look forward to as far as rewards are concerned, because so much has to involve you spending money now. People have also been...
Well, stop looking forward for rewards from a free-to-play game. You're playing a game that's free to play. That's the reward enough. If you don't want to spend money on it, don't spend money on it. You're playing the game. You're experiencing the experience. That's it. You know? What? You wanna play the game and get rewarded for playing the game? That's not happening. Like, what game has done that? No game. It's like you're asking for too much.
Quote tweeting this post and providing their hot takes. I provided my own on Twitter, and you can see that it actually went viral because so many people have
It's like this. Like, so Overwatch 2 is free to play. So you start playing it. Great. You know, you get like these little. I think you get like, I don't play it that often or whatever, but like, don't you get like some form of currency that takes like forever to like build up? Like Apex has like the legend tokens or not or whatever, but it's like cosmetic tokens, and then you can like buy skins, I think. Like, apply this to like every other form of sports. Like, if you start playing basketball, you don't get rewarded with like an NBA contract, you know, just because you're playing. If you start playing Overwatch, you don't get awarded like an OWL like contract just because you start playing. All right, you're just playing because you want to play. You're either a casual, or you're somewhere in the middle, or you're like in the top 500 bros or whatever, and like that's it. You're the reward is the experience itself. You shouldn't ask for like anything else.
similar sentiment surrounding this. Wait, Overwatch 2 is charging for story missions after cutting hero missions? Wasn't the whole point of charging for overpriced cosmetic microtransactions to ensure new content remain free additions and people who purchase the Watchpoint pack don't get access to this? Bruh. Furthermore, here's somebody else, Necro13. You bought...
Bro, aren't these like, wouldn't these be kind of comparable to like Apex's LTMs or whatever? Because like, I remember Apex had like a couple like limited time modes where they would be like they were replayable. It's like if you die, you come back as like some little ghost thing with like you can wall run on shit, and it's like there was a little bit of story behind it, and those were free. It seems like Blizzard just monetized LTMs, which is hilarious. I bet Apex bros are laughing at the Overwatch bros. It's like, oh my god, they gotta pay for their LTMs. We just get it for free. Oh my god, this is funny when I think about it like that.
Bought Overwatch with real money. Overwatch 2 is announced to exist alongside 1. They actually changed it so you're forced to get Overwatch 2 anyway and scrapped Overwatch 1. Then they promised story missions and PvE. Then the devs said that it's not in their plans when it comes to the hero mission specifically. Then they release the PvE story missions and charge for it. When will you stop defending this? Poor marketing, poor planning that has led to just poor monetization models, poor content release models. And yeah, Overwatch 2, man, just the squandering of the potential of the IP, because I do love the IP, but the fact that Blizzard's been making such epic missteps and fumbles left and right, and hasn't allowed this franchise to grow at the level that it should have been able to grow is frustrating. Here are more folks chiming in.
It's just another game that has been lost to greed. That's all it is. It's just another game in the bucket of games that used to be good, but now they're bad.
And by retweeting and saying every decision made by this IP continues to make this age worse and worse. This has garnered a few thousand likes. You've got somebody who is just declaring that the story missions, which again do not include the hero missions now, the PvE is just a shadow of what they initially promised, and it's a part of the live service content release model. All of this should be free, and it's something that many people believe. Tons of likes, tons of views, tons of people agreeing underneath that post. Here's somebody else. This individual makes the case of at least make the first mission free, at least let people try something in regards to story missions. I feel like players should get the first mission for free to figure out if they're actually interested in this. Sucks. Only way to figure out if you want to invest is by watching gameplay from others, or just chuck the $15 in and hope for the best. Again, for a free-to-play experience. At least it's permanent.
Bro, just live vicariously through like your favorite streamer or YouTuber that streams the game, or, you know, puts the gameplay up on YouTube or whatever, and just be like, oh, he beat it, so that means I beat it. Okay, I don't have to support Blizzard. I can just go back to playing 5v5. You know, a simple fix.
How is it that we even have to clarify that this is permanent access. Of course, if you buy something, you should have access to it permanently. This shouldn't be a feature that has to be flaunted. That should just be common sense. That should be a given. And again, this specifically states permanent access to specifically the Invasion story missions. So it's starting to feel like you're going to have to pay some kind of price point for future story missions at a constant pace. Overwatch 2 just cannot catch a break as far as controversies and backlash goes. They had to deal with things like requirement for all accounts to have a valid phone number. Remember that whole shenanigan that they had to backpedal on? Then it was the launch issues, including the server problems and players of Overwatch 1 not having their cosmetics sync properly into Overwatch 2. Then there's the lack of just general substantial content additions that justify the
balancing, the matchmaking, the general complaints from the player base and community as a whole
to an Overwatch 2, and when it felt like some form of justification was coming through the PvE.
No one's excited for OWL League or whatever, the Owl League. Like, like what's happening? Like, when's the last piece of good news for Overwatch?
Content, that stuff was needed so much that people feel duped about the way Overwatch and Blizzard continuously marketed the hero missions and knew about the fact that they were going to cut it before the game launched and didn't decide to inform people because they wanted to leverage that marketing to get people to purchase content and, you know, the watch point pack and microtransactions for the game before dropping the hard news. The marketing is just so scummy and manipulative and deceptive. It just feels like there's so little consideration when it comes to consumer friendliness here that goodwill is disappearing quickly surrounding the Overwatch IP. There's just one.
How about this? The marketing is fine as long as you have money, but if you don't have money, the marketing sucks. There.
Negative PR campaign after another with the way they've been comporting themselves, carrying themselves, and the way they've been handling Overwatch 2. I guess we'll see what happens on this front. We'll see what the quality of the story missions will be like and how people receive those. But for $15, they better be some incredible 2 hours worth of campaign content. And I personally highly doubt that the story missions, while they might be kind of neat, I highly doubt that they'll live up to that $15 cost, and I highly doubt that it'll justify the 2 in Overwatch 2 or make up for the scaling back of the PvE content, the scrap.
Bro, there's going to be a bunch of cannon fodder, and what'd they say? There's 2 new enemies, the Prowler and the other dude, all right? That's it. Everything else, you're just shooting cannon fodder. That's it.
Scrapping of the hero missions. That's my prediction, but we'll see. Maybe they'll surprise us. Who am I kidding? Hope is dangerous when it comes to Overwatch 2. Or at the very least, that's one man's take. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on the current state of Overwatch 2. The fact that they're charging $15 for these 3 story missions that will apparently roughly be around 2 hours long to complete. And whether you think there's any justification to the way they're charging $15 for this. Share your thoughts on all of this in the comments below. Man. And to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.
Oh, that's the best part.
Okay, here we go.
Oh my god.
Blizzard's.
Oh man, that was such a good video. Thank you, Yong, for keeping me informed. I had no idea Blizzard was doing this. You know, for them to try to charge people again for content, that is like actually big brain thinking on Blizzard's part. We get them to buy the PvE stuff, we cancel it, makes them, and then sell them, and then put a price tag on the scrap content they were supposed to get and call it a different product. Ha! That is big brain from Blizzard. Oh my god. That was a great video. Thank you, thank you. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is, man. Will Blizzard get something better in the future? Who knows? But yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say. So after that, you know, kind of surprised. Not really. Oh, man. But we'll see what happens. So that's pretty much it. Take it easy, guys. Later.